How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to another Spongebob Rehydrated video. So the game launched a few weeks ago, and I know, I've been absolutely silent when it came to making any content regarding the game, and that was completely due to circumstances beyond my control. Long story short, it wasn't exactly easy to get this game, as the version that I managed to get was the Nintendo Switch version, and apparently it's a bit more glitchy than the other versions. But after 2 playthroughs of the Switch version, I've had an absolute blast. But instead of giving my full thoughts on the game itself, which I'll save for my review later on, I want to discuss the issues with the Nintendo Switch version, and hopefully THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp Studios sees this video and addresses some of these issues for this version of the game. So while I was waiting for the day 1 patch to download, I decided to play around with the game's controls and get a good feel for it. Yeah, okay, half the game was literally missing. There were missing animations, glitches, amongst other issues, and it didn't even add the ability to capture gameplay, hence why you're seeing credited gameplay and not my own. And it's also why I can't properly review the game just yet, and that probably won't happen until the game gets some more patches. Because even with the day 1 patch, there are still some issues that were left over, here and there, like audio desyncing in certain cutscenes, pop-in textures when entering another area, which is kind of minor for me personally, but in the Guppy Mound section of Sand Mountain, the textures don't even load correctly in this area, and it just doesn't look good in the slightest. Yet the rest of the Sand Mountain level looks great, and so does the rest of the game. Now, I'm not trying to sound all nitpicky or negative about the game, as I still enjoyed playing the game both times through, even though at times it was slightly more difficult and the characters sometimes felt slower than the original. Well, come to find out, there was an issue with the Switch version involving going in any direction other than directly straight, back, left, or right, sometimes resulting in sneaking when you don't really want to, and also sometimes outright killing any chance of reaching a specific platform that happens to be in that general direction. And believe me, that happened quite a few times during my first playthrough, and in the process I seen plenty of loading screens because of it, which is something else that really needs to be fixed. I mean, it's not really the amount of loading screens there are, it's really just how long they take to actually load. Whenever you fall, whenever you fast travel to another level, whenever you go to another area, etc, etc, etc. It's just way too many. Yeah, okay, Spyro had them too, and it also ran on the Unreal Engine 4, but I don't think they were as bad as the loading times in Rehydrated, yet SpongeBob can load up way more grass than Spyro for some reason. What am I saying? Despite this, there are still a couple of problem areas where what might have worked in the original will simply not work in Rehydrated, and yes, that means a lot of tricks to cheese the game have been done away with, especially in Rock Bottom and the Kelp Forest slide section, with the latter taking me over an hour to pull off the first time through, as even touching some of these rocks on the side of the slide will count as out of bounds, and I'd have to start all over again. And having to listen to Mermaid Man over and over again every time I fail started to remind me of the trouble with the trolley from Spyro, which got really annoying really fast. At least Crash Insane, to my knowledge, kept all those cheese tactics intact, even though pulling it off in Road to Nowhere isn't exactly easy, but at least it's still present. I just wish there was a way to cheese the Murmlaire's ball puzzle. Oh no, somehow this was far worse for me than the original. The ball keeps falling off the ramp when it's not supposed to, and the new addition of this thing under the balance board to help keep the ball from falling, sometimes it helps and gets the ball stuck, but other times it don't and it still falls, or just simply pops out of existence. Now, I wasn't able to find any footage online about this issue, but it's something that I experienced but I could not capture. And something that really threw me off for the majority of my first playthrough was the fact that the jump button was now placed on the A button on the Switch, as opposed to the B button on the Switch, which most people would think would be the typical place you would put a jump button, because that's the spot where almost every game has it on both PlayStation and Xbox. Even Crash and Spyro on the Switch have it that way. I just feel that this was a weird decision on Purple Lamp's part. I mean, what is this, Nicktoons Unite? It's not a huge deal, as I managed to adjust to it after finishing the game for the first time, and now every action just flows so much better because of that adjustment. So if they decided to switch that around, I'd be fine with it. It'll just take time to get used to the new new control scheme. But speaking of getting used to things, would you believe that the muscle memory for the game didn't kick in for me until the final boss? It's true. As soon as it started, I knew exactly what to do, I knew the pattern, and everything flowed just as it did in the original, and it felt so good. I probably should have saved that for my review. However, there's a glitch right now where if you even attempt to replay these bosses, you'll just get an empty arena, which was not supposed to happen, as in the original, you can replay the main robot bosses at any time. The mini bosses you could not. And this kinda sucks, especially when we look at Crash and Spyro where every boss was replayable at any time on launch day. But as of right now, there's another patch being worked on to fix some of these bugs, and hopefully this will be one of them. As to when this patch will release or what bugs will be fixed, we're still not sure on that just yet. And while we're on the subject of bugs and glitches, yeah, there's plenty of them, especially since this is the Switch version, but since the day one patch downloaded, not many big ones really happened except for the previous example, and a rather bizarre glitch where I received the task from Mrs. Puff in the Kelp Forest to go find the missing campers. Well, I was done playing at that point, turned the game off, and went to go do something else. Came back, started the game back up, walked past Mrs. Puff, she stopped me, and awarded me a golden spatula. Yet I found no campers whatsoever. I just started where I left off. Why are you giving me the spatula? Now, while this was kind of a major time-saving bug on my part, I still went out of my way to find the missing campers anyway. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of other bugs or glitches I can recall off the top of my head, aside from SpongeBob saying ow when he took damage like 5 seconds beforehand, and or saying it after finishing the previous voice line. It's minor, but I kind of found it distracting. And also for massive frame rate drops in Sand Mountain. That was also really frustrating. And okay, what is this? Okay, this glitch came up while I was recording this video, and I honestly can't tell you just how funny this is. I mean, wow. So how this happened was that someone I know borrowed my Switch for a couple of hours, came back, and showed me how to pull off this glitch. Basically, what you do is fast travel to the spelunking mission in Jellyfish Fields. As soon as the level starts, don't move. Pause the game and fast travel to either SpongeBob's Pineapple, Sandy's Tree Dome, or the Krusty Krab, and voila, you got Patrick into these areas. But for some reason, it won't work with Squidward's house. I don't know why. As for getting Sandy into these areas, just go to the starting area of Sandy's Dream and repeat the same process. Also, thanks to Loopy Longplays over on YouTube, they managed to get Sandy into the second area of Jellyfish Fields via fast traveling from Sandy's Dream. I tested this myself, it does work, but you can't take Sandy into the other areas of Jellyfish Fields. Regardless of that, this is pretty cool that we can play as Sandy in Jellyfish Fields. Well, some of it. And I'm really hoping that these particular glitches don't get fixed, because they're actually pretty fun to do, and I'd be really disappointed if they were fixed. Anyways, I got a bit distracted there, but it's just something that I thought you guys would find interesting. So let's go ahead and get back to the point. In terms of visuals, even though this is the Switch version, pretty much every level looks amazing, with the exception of the Guppy Mound area of Sand Mountain. Well, at least until they fix that. As for certain cutscenes though, for some reason we can see a rather noticeable amount of pixelation when it comes to shadows, or even the outlines of the characters. I'm really hoping this does get fixed in the next patch, as it's also kind of distracting. I mean, in Spyro Reignited, which is another game running on the Unreal Engine 4, don't even pixelate like that in any cutscene whatsoever, for characters nor shadows. But overall, I really enjoyed SpongeBob Rehydrated, despite some of the issues that I mentioned in this video, and hopefully THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp Studios sees this video and takes these said issues for the Switch version into consideration for the next patch. And one last thing before I go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Bassub Gaming's YouTube channel for discovering an 81st sock hidden inside the theater via glitching or exploiting the game. I personally tried this and it does work. It's an odd but interesting find that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you want to check out Bassub's video on that, the link will be in the description below. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, featuring some of the issues I've encountered with the Switch version of SpongeBob Rehydrated. So in the comments section below, let me know what you guys think about the game, along with any issues, bugs, or glitches that you might have experienced. And also be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more SpongeBob Rehydrated related content, and hopefully a review coming your way. Once again, thank you all so much for watching and the support. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time.